I want to talk to you today about outrage culture in all of its forms, whether it comes from the left wing or the right wing or from society as a whole. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm absolutely sick of it. I'm sick of whiny liberals yammering about microaggressions and everything from video game tits to the racial makeup of TV shows being problematic. I'm sick of conservative snowflakes who blow a gasket when someone doesn't stand for the national theme song or when a musician dares to support Democrats. I'm sick of whatever the latest big scandal we're all supposed to be upset about is, like the entirety of the hashtag #MeToo movement. I'm sick of whatever the next big scandal is going to be, even before it breaks. I'm sick of celebrity gossip being treated as though it were of national consequence. I'm sick of moral crusades where some group of hateful assholes can pretend they're the good guys and get a bunch of other hateful assholes to validate them. I'm sick of reality being distorted to fit whatever narrative is convenient to whatever person or group is perceiving it. I'm tired of people who mistake anger for action, who mistake rumor for fact, who mistake tearing someone else down for building themselves up. It wouldn't be so bad if there was discussion. It wouldn't be so bad if we could talk honestly to one another. It wouldn't be so bad if people could put their indignity in a box and still function as thinking human beings. But we've surrendered the rigorous process of critical thinking, which involves skepticism and self-criticism. We've surrendered it and replaced it with emotional catharsis, with the idea that we're good as long as someone else is bad, that we're winners if someone else is a loser, that we're safe from lynching as long as we're part of the lynch mob. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not fundamentally against being upset. I'm not against being pissed off about whatever you want to be pissed off about. What I'm rallying against here is the idea that outrage should have any effect on the world in and of itself. I'm offended by this video game, you know? Well, then don't play it. No, it has to change just for me. That should never work in a million years, but it does. Artists and entertainers are censored all the time in this country because of someone getting offended. I mean, look at Roseanne, for fuck's sakes. They took her out of the show that she created, and she was the titular character for. And it was all because of a tweet that was very dubiously declared racist by the unthinking masses. I don't think the tweet was racist, but even if it was, I don't give a shit. There are plenty of racists in this country. Some are making your sandwich at Subway. Some are selling you your groceries. Some are doing your taxes. Some are making your entertainment. It's a point of view that exists in the world. Why should we run from it? Why should we silence it? Why should we be afraid to engage it in conversation, unless we're afraid we're going to lose? We live in the age where people think that their grievances are law, where being the most offended is seen as having the highest power level, where the sheer power of outrage can cause censorship to happen, can cause the destruction of entire careers, often based on flimsy evidence interpreted through the eyes of opportunistic vultures looking for the next big scandal to feed on. And truth gets lost in the feeding frenzy. So does conversation. So does ambiguity and nuance. So do all of the plethora of considerations that would require stopping for a moment and using one's brain. The outrage train just chugs on, and if you get in its way, you'll get run over, because moral crusaders, ironically, have no morals. They'll attempt to destroy anything or anyone that stands in their way. No new facts can dissuade them, no apology can assuage them, and no nuanced and careful examination of the issues can fill them with even a second of doubt or hesitation. It's not about being good for them, it's about feeling good, it's about feeling superior. Well, let me break something to them and to you if you don't know it already, and I'm not going to do it gently. You are not superior to anyone. You are no better or worse than any other human being to ever exist on this planet. We are all equal in the nihilistic reality of this cosmos. We are all of no value, because value itself is an absurd concept. If the planet exploded tomorrow, the universe would not care. There is no God to weep over the loss of humanity. The only thing that values humanity is humanity, and even most of us are pretty iffy on it. And if I'm wrong, and if humanity is of value, then is your energy really best spent finding things to be upset about and browbeating others into submission? Why not spend that energy feeding the hungry, getting medicine to the sick, fighting for a world in which everyone has a roof over their heads and a good education and can feel safe walking down the street? Why don't you do that? Because it's for all your sanctimony. At the core of you, you're just as nihilistic as I am. You don't care about anyone but yourself. And maybe to some small extent, you care about those directly in your social circle, which is fine if that's how you want to live. But don't then turn around and tell me that you're upset about a video game character's big jiggling ass or Taylor Swift's political endorsements. You're not. You're just bored and looking for something to distract you from what a piece of shit you actually are, rather than coming to terms with it. You're not a good person. If the concept of a good person even makes sense, you're not it. I don't really believe in good people, but if I did, I think that a good person would devote themselves to, helping people, not hurting them. I think that a good person would try to lift up everyone they could, would try to love their enemies, would try to see things from another person's point of view with empathy and patience and understanding. And you're not that. I'm not that either. No one I've ever met has been that. Some people aspire to it, but no one I've known has reached it. Maybe Mr. fucking Rogers. Never met the guy, though. I don't know. I don't think I have it in me to be that kind of good. I'm too selfish, too arrogant. There's too much violence and darkness in me. And all of those traits have led me in the past to join the mobs, to make stupid videos because my AdSense payments and the adoration of the crowd were worth more to me than my own intellect or my own system of ethics. I don't have anything in particular against feminists or racists or liberals or conservatives or other kin or trans people or any other group. But I've never hesitated for a second to single anyone out if I thought I could make a buck off it. And I justified all of that to myself. I said, this is okay because I hate all of humanity. It doesn't matter if I pretend to take a side when the only real side I'm on is, of course, my own. But before long, I began to realize that in my attempt to gain subscribers and money and influence, I'd given up something more important than all of it. More important to me, anyway. I'd given up my identity. I'd grown so accustomed to telling people what I thought they wanted to hear that I lost track of my own voice. And I've spent the last few years trying desperately to find it again. And have I? Fuck, I don't know. I really don't know. What I do know is everything I hate about humanity, I see in myself. Pettiness, cruelty, arrogance, misanthropy, apathy, hypocrisy. And really the greatest hypocrisy of all is that despite hating others for these traits, I forgive myself for them. I can't bring myself to hate myself. And if I can forgive myself, then maybe I should be able to forgive others too. And I'm trying. I've been trying. So far, not so good. I oppose the death penalty. And I do so for a reason that's unlike the reasons that most other people offer up. It's not because I feel compassion for those sentenced to death. It's because I don't recognize the fitness of this society or any other to stand in judgment of anyone. How can a jury sentence a man to death for killing his wife when they're wearing slave labor shoes and slave labor diamonds and eating slave labor chocolate and paying taxes that go to drone striking third world hospitals and just exploiting their fellow human beings in dozens of other hideous ways while they're themselves being exploited by more powerful human beings and so on and so forth? up until who knows where. The Illuminati? I don't know, probably not. But in my book, a monstrous society, and make no mistake, this is a monstrous society, has no moral authority to condemn other monsters, and a society that wasn't monstrous wouldn't look to condemnation as a solution to begin with. The truth is, I don't stand with anyone, nor against anyone. I can't pick a side. I don't see a difference. And for a long time, I've rebelled against that conclusion because I was afraid that if I take no side, how can I ever have an audience? People don't want to hear generalized criticisms of humanity. They want to hear about how the enemy tribe is bad and how they're good. But I can't play that game anymore. In the words of Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, my hypocrisy only goes so far. So I don't know what I'm going to do from now on, but I'm not going to engage in outrage culture anymore. It's bad for me, it's bad for you, it's bad for society. I want no further part of it. But it's so ubiquitous, I don't know quite how to escape it. I don't know how to make a video about this stupid shit that someone from one group says without making all of their critics feel superior. I don't know how to make an anti-SJW video that doesn't make everyone who hates SJWs feel as if their shit doesn't stink, And that's unfortunate because I really wish I could always make it clear that my criticisms of any group probably apply as much to any other group, if some table somewhere were turned. It would be, I think, extremely tedious to constantly play the what about game, It'd be exceedingly tedious to constantly have to say, here's something stupid Ben Shapiro said, but here's something equally stupid that a liberal opponent said. At the end of the day, I want my audience to be entertained. But I find it ever more difficult to do that and still exist within the constraints of my own ethical framework. I don't want to be part of the problem, but I recognize that I have been, and I still am. Like, I don't want to be a moral crusader or an outrage evangelist because to be such a thing is fundamentally empty. A creature that defines itself not by what it stands for, but only by what it stands against. Can you even call that a human being, or is that simply an automaton, an eager mental maw waiting for marching orders? I don't know the answer, nor do I feel particularly inclined to pretend that I do. And I don't know what value any of what I've just said has, if it has any. I talked earlier about how value doesn't really mean anything, but I have a subjective sense of value. You have a subjective sense of value. So I hope that you found some subjective value in this rambling mess of a speech. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Let me know.